Hey guys, Jonathan Dorr with you once again. Welcome back to today's message. Please make sure you've subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and if you haven't grabbed a copy of my free book, Bridging the Gap, link is below. I've got it in an awesome PDF format, going to send you a chapter every 2 days. You're going to absolutely love it. Short chapters, really easy to work through. That's the book that started it all for me, so grab a free copy underneath. You ready to go? Let's do this. Today, we are going to be sharing a quote from the incredible Helen Keller. If you're not familiar with her story, lost her ability to basically communicate, her eyesight, her speech at the age of about 19 months. And you see this incredible journey where she just went on to become one of the great figures of history, somebody very familiar with suffering. I'll put a link to her bio here today so you can go and check her out. Incredible story. But the quote I want to share with you today from her is really powerful. Let's do it. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved. How often do we find ourselves here listening to me talk about the way that I think the universe is structured? A few days ago, I was talking about this with a quote from Alfred Adler. Some of you'd remember that episode. We are a culture created for comfort. We're a culture where you can pretty much just get through life without too much difficulty. You can anesthetize the pain in your life through any number of substances. You can distract yourself with any number of entertainments. But it seems that the ability to grow in our souls, in our character, in the essence of who we are, doesn't come through ease and comfort. Not many of us become extraordinary people by sitting on the couch. Those of us who really try and develop the raw material of what we've been given often have to do it by pushing against some pretty big obstacles. Those obstacles could be psychological, they could be relational, they could be physical, they could be professional. But it's the ability to encounter difficulty and suffering and push through it that somehow leads those of us who want to do it into a different experience of reality, a different experience of life. And I think what happens with suffering and difficulty is it either breaks you and makes you bitter, and you start looking for a cause, and you start looking for someone to blame. You start looking for someone who's responsible for why. Well, I mean, how much is that a thing at the moment, right? Our culture, our political culture particularly, is predicated on this idea that somewhere there is someone to blame. That somewhere there is somebody who is responsible for why you are unhappy, and if you vote for them, they're going to make things better for you. I mean, look, how's that working out as a global culture? You know, like, do we seem to be a more adjusted, happy, balanced, tolerant, patient, loving, you know, developing world? Right at the moment, the time of recording this, it's not looking that way. There might be a place for governments to help deal with terrible injustices. But outside of that, this idea that someone outside ourselves can magically fix our lives for us is, I think, really problematic. Gandhi used to say this, right? You know, be the change that you want to see. You want to change the world? Well, it's a good place to start, and it's not necessarily in the political process. I got a real issue with it. I think, you know, my kids are always asking me, what do you think of this politician? What do you think of that one? I said, I think what I think of every single politician, that they're human. That there'll be some that are better than others. There'll be some that are slightly better than others, but many of them will be broken, complex people like all of us. So I think one of the things we need to do is stop looking for salvation in the political process, stop looking for salvation in some kind of outside force. What we need to do is realize that the difficulties and strains and struggles of our relationships, our work, our physical bodies are invitations to the growth and development of character. And we don't go looking for it, do we? Most of us don't. We just want to kind of get through each day relatively similar to the one before it. But if you want a different result, you have to do different things. You have to seek out some difficult things. You have to push yourself when you don't feel like it. I've been saying in recent episodes that I'm currently coaching a sporting team, and you can see it. You can see it in real time. You can see a group of X number of people, and there are some who want to push and some who want to grow, and it's a mystery. It really is a mystery. But all I can say to you today is you watch this. If you are watching this, I want to put the thought in your head that it's the hard things in your life at the moment that are the opportunity to grow and develop. If you can face them, push through them, accept them, be decent in them, be a good human in the midst of suffering, avoid blame and rage and, judgment, operate in acceptance and invitation that, yes, this is difficult, but I am going to grow through it. That's your choice. You can choose that option. That's the part that is in your power. That's the part that our culture is telling us is not in our power, but it is. The ability to choose our response amidst difficult circumstances. Helen Keller could have just curled up in a ball and never grown, but her ability to face terrible hardship and suffering led her to become one of the great figures of history. So make sure you check out her biography below. All right, friends, that's it from me. Let's get into character. Let's get into growth. Let's get into acceptance. Let's accept the invitation of hardship. Let's accept the invitation of difficulty. Let's grow in the process. Make sure you've subscribed. My name's Jonathan Doyle. I'm going to have another message for you tomorrow.